These are the plaintiffs, Julianne and Jim Leadus. They say they were hired to refurbish a dining room hutch by the defendant, and the woman is stiffing them on the agreed-upon price for their completed services. They usually deal with high-end clients who pay their bills and can't believe the defendant's refusing to pay for the great job they did, so they're suing for the $1,100.66 they're still owed. This is the defendant, Pam Dix. She says she runs a design firm that's been in business 25 years, and she's never seen such shoddy work by a so-called high-end refurbishing company in all her life. There were white blemishes and pit marks in the finish of the furniture, multiple gouges and scratches, and she's paid them quite enough already and won't pay a penny more. She's accused of not paying much for a hutch.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiffs refurbished the defendant's dining room hutch and got stiffed. But the defendant says the work was shoddy with white blemishes and pit marks. It's the case of not so fine dining.
Okay, Final Touch Incorporated, represented here by Julianne and Jim Leadus. You are suing Partners by Design, represented here by its owner, Pam Dix.
Yes.
Okay, for $898.50 plus finance charges that you say is remaining money due for services that you performed and have not been paid for. Okay, what happened?
On December 3rd, Final Touch received a request.
What do you guys do for a living?
We are a furniture repair and restoration company, and we specialize in on-site repair and restoration.
And how long have you been doing that?
25 years.
Who actually does it?
Jim does.
You run the office?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you get a call from?
On December 3rd, Final Touch received a request from Partners by Design to repair a hutch. Now
that would be for a client, for a private party.
Yes.
But they were using you as their designer?
I am, yes.
Okay, so go ahead.
Jim was scheduled for...
Had you ever done business with them, each other before?
Yes, we have.
How many times?
I would say...
4 or 5 times.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
over
successfully,
the course of a couple years.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Okay, so Jim was scheduled to go out and do an inspection, which he did. A detailed inspection report was submitted to Partners by Design.
Can I see the inspection report?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
was wrong with it? Can you tell me?
Yeah, it looked like the piece had been worked on prior to delivering it.
But was it supposed to be a new piece or no?
It was supposed to be brand new. There was all scratch marks on the finish. There was nicks. There was chips. Doors didn't open and close
Why
properly.
would the client accept delivery like that?
They claimed that they had no choice when they delivered it. The truck drivers wouldn't take it back. So they took delivery, but they weren't happy. So we were contracted to go out there to see what could be done to resurrect the piece.
But that's sort of crazy, right? Because a client can always say, take it back. No, we're not taking it back. Well, I'm not paying for it. I'm not signing something saying I'm accepting it. And, I'm calling your firm and you got to take it. I mean, this just sounds strange. What's the story there? Why did they accept it?
They accepted it because we agreed to fix the problem.
Was it supposed to be a new piece?
It is a new piece, yes.
It is a brand new piece?
Brand new.
Wouldn't it make more sense to send it back to the manufacturer, reject it because it's damaged, rather than take it upon yourself to get into this and then end up here?
Yeah, well, it's common in our business that pieces of furniture come in and the particular warehouse that delivered it, we've had problems with dings and things, and often we contract people to come in and touch up. We call
Who pays for that? The manufacturer?
The manufacturer reimburses us.
But I don't...
Because by the time
maybe I'm just pickier than other people, but I would think you'd be really picky. I just don't get it.
Oh, we are. We're very
then why
picky.
wouldn't you just say, no, I'm not doing it. Send me another one because it takes too long?
It's the likelihood that the new piece would come in with a ding. It was a huge dining room hutch.
I need to see. Does anybody have a picture of this thing that is apparently like God's hutch?
We don't have a picture, but in our description of our initial inspection report.
Is there a picture?
No.
Not a human in this room has a picture of God's piece that I'm supposed to look at and say is the most amazing thing. I can understand why.
I have.
What?
I'm sorry. I have small pictures of the different damages, but not of the entire big piece of furniture.
Let's see what. I mean, the piece is still in the client's house, right?
Yes, it is.
But nobody can take a picture for the judge?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So in our description of our inspection report, it outlines the extent of the damage from this piece being delivered. So it kind of paints the picture, even though there was no pictures requested by us to make when we did the inspection. So there was no issues at the end of the job.
So you do a report. The actual cost of the report is $85. Right?
The inspection fee was $85.
The inspection fee. And then you decide after seeing the inspection report that you want to hire them, as you have many times in the past.
I made a phone call to him because it was $1,200 to $1,500 estimate. And I said, it seemed high in my eyes.
His estimate. How much was the piece?
The piece was an $8,000 piece.
$8,000 piece.
Yes.
So it was going to be
Retail.
$1,500 to make it the $8,000 piece that
Right.
it's supposed to be.
Yes,
All right.
that's correct.
Okay.
So I had a phone conversation with Jim in January of '09, and I questioned him why it was so high. He said he'd have to take the door that had the ding back to his shop, refinish it, the edge banding, the sanding, etc.
What happens though? Because you hired them for $1,500 and then you won't pay them the second half of this. So what happened?
He said his day charge, he said, if it doesn't take that long and I can fix it, my day charge is $900. I said, okay, which happens in my business all the time. So I took him on his word, having experience with him in the past, that if it's a day charge, it would be $900. When I phoned the client to see how it was going the day he was there, they had already left. I called her at 3 o'clock, they left at 2. They arrived at 8 a.m. and left at 2. So to me, that's a day charge. I sent the...
Now I'm looking at the contract you signed with them and there's no such commentary. What you're saying is in the contract. In fairness, the contract doesn't say it's $1,500. The contract says it's between $1,200 and $1,500. What does that mean? Like, how do you objectively decide whether it's $1,200 or $1,500 based on what your bills are that month, or based on your time, based on what?
There was 2 men there, so she's insinuating we're only billing $900 for 2 men for a day, and we don't. If it's 2 men for a full day, it should have been $1,800 because we get $900 per man.
Okay.
It's billable man hours. So when I took on the job, I said, here's a window. I'll promise it'll be between 12 and 15. I won't go beyond
What did it
I
end
put
up
a
being?
cap. We came out to, I think it was $1,475 was the
What a
initial
coincidence. All right,
invoice we
so
gave
now,
her.
But
So
now
then we
here
sent her
comes
a
the bill. So they finished the work. And when you finish the work, is the customer happy or unhappy?
The customer, we're there, the homeowner's there, she's constantly looking at the piece, and we don't leave until she's satisfied. Satisfied to us means she signs off saying that she's 100% satisfied the work that was done. We constantly invite the homeowner in to
Did
view
the
our
customer
work.
sign off that they were satisfied?
Absolutely.
May I see the signature of the customer, of the client?
That's the original.
I hereby acknowledge the satisfactory completion of the above described work and authorize final payment to Final Touch. The client signs saying, I hereby acknowledge complete satisfaction with the work. Now you have a letter that you submitted into evidence of the client saying, it's awful. I can't get it on a camera. I can't get it in a picture to prove it to you that it's awful, but it's awful. Okay, like what am I supposed to do with this?
So if you sign a release and you say, hey, the work is good, are you kind of screwed if it's not later, if you figure it out later?
Yeah, if you sign the release, that's it.
But what if after the fact, the client looks at it and says, oh my God, it's bad, it's blemished?
That's right. I've watched the People's Court. I think I know that you can change your mind.
Oh, you think you can change your mind?
I think so.
Really? Okay, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think it's up to you to look all over the work before you sign the release.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
She accepted, per his words, to
What
keep
words?
the door.
She accepted per her eyeballs,
Okay.
baby. There's no words involved. It's either fixed or it's look. Anybody who's earned $8,000 after-tax dollars to spend on a hutch ought to have eyeballs to be able to say this is good, this is bad, this is mediocre. I won't accept this. I don't understand it.
He told her that to take the door, to fix the ding in the door, he could not guarantee that it would be a perfect job or match the finish of the other things. So on that letter that he sent, or that she signed, it says that they cleaned, compounded, adjust the doors, light cosmetic touch-up as needed.
I don't know what you're trying to prove with that. The
Well, that's what
client
she
what do you
signed.
want me to do with this, where the client says this is perfect? Prove to me it's not. Prove to me it's not satisfactory now. 11 months. How many months did you wait to bill them, by the way? Because in the defendant's answer, she says they didn't get a bill from you until November. The work was done in February, and the first time you send them a bill is in November?
No, not at all. I have documentation of every single time I requested for payment.
Okay, how were you requesting payment? By phone calls or
No,
bills?
fax.
Hand that over. Look for that and
Yes.
hand it to Douglas. Can I ask you a question?
Right here.
Yes.
All right. The work is done. The client signs off on it.
Right.
When do you first hear that the client didn't really mean what they signed off on?
When I called her that day, she told me that he would decided, or they agreed upon not taking the door away to be sanded and refinished, and that she said, she'd accept it as it is.
Then why didn't you pay them?
I had already paid them $750.
So what? Your contract's for $1,500 or $1,470. I mean, your contract is for between $1,200 and $1,500.
Right.
You signed that contract. I didn't sign that contract.
Yes,
I wouldn't have accepted the darn $8,000 piece.
Right.
Maybe I'm just more witchy than the average $8,000 hutch buyer.
Right.
But if I'm paying $8,000, which is a car, not a piece of furniture, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, that's not perfect. I'm not taking it. I'm not going to get into a whole new series of fights between you and them and the manufacturer. I'm not getting into that.
Right.
But your client does. And then your client also says, yeah, this is good enough. When did it become not good enough? And I don't get it because you're not even paying for this. Isn't the manufacturer paying for this?
They did not because they went out of business.
Wow. Now the plot thickens.
Yeah.
Now we know what's going on.
They pay us?
When did the manufacturer go out of business?
Actually, just recently. Yeah.
Okay. Well, which sort of means that I guess you should have hustled in February, whether you got faxes or didn't, to get the manufacturer to pay. It wasn't even your money. It was the manufacturer's money.
Which I would be happy to pay.
Well, then why didn't you take care of it in February
because
when you knew you had a bill?
I thought that he was satisfied with what he got.
So you just, basically, it's just, I have until the second notice. Wait until I keep getting billed. That's your answer to this. That's your answer. Okay. It's a problem because I don't get how it is that your client now writes a 3-page single-space type letter about how unhappy they are when they signed this off. So can you explain that? The client was unsatisfied. Why all of a sudden?
I don't know why.
You have some pictures here. What is this a picture of?
That's a mullion. I think she's looking at the finish. The finish? Yeah.
Okay, and who takes the pictures, by the way? Who took them?
That's the client. Or the client sent them.
Okay, now these pictures were taken when? In preparation for court, like recently?
He just sent them.
Okay, this is a year later. I have no idea what's happened in a year.
Right.
And that is probably the biggest problem in your defense, which is that you signed a contract that specifically says if there is any touch-up work needed on the overall job, meaning if there's something else you want done,
right, correct.
We need to be notified and have access to the job within 10 days of the completed date, or we will not be responsible for any touch-up. I didn't sign this contract, you did. Right? That's your signature.
Yes.
Okay. By the way, do you ever pony up that proof of fax? Yeah. You have a proof that you faxed a bill?
I just have one.
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened so that nobody, they dropped the ball and didn't bill you the rest. That made you happy because you got other bills to pay. And then by the time you figure out and they send you something in November, the company's gone out of business. So now all of a sudden your job isn't good enough. That was good enough up to now because nobody complained, nobody called you to come back, nobody sent you these pictures back in February, nobody sent you a certified letter in February, none of that stuff happened. Now magically your job's not good enough because you didn't pay your debt because you were just closing your eyes and squeezing your fingers and saying, don't catch me, don't catch me, don't catch me. Well, who do you think's going to eat that now? I'm sorry the manufacturer went out of business. That is your problem with the manufacturer. That is not their problem with getting paid. I find in favor of the plaintiff based on the contract that you signed for the full amount plus the finance charge that the contract you signed says they're entitled to, for a total verdict in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100.66.
Thank you.
Well, the defendant comes out on very much losing end of this case. The judge had it pretty much right that you just waited and waited and waited and hoped you wouldn't hear from them again.
No, I didn't get a bill, so.
So you don't pay till you get a bill, second bill.
Yes.
But you knew what you owed, so why didn't you just send him a check for what you owed?
Because he never called me back.
That's a good position for you, right? So if you don't,
well, I would have been happy to pay him if he talked to me about.
Well, they chased you and they got their money. How do you feel now about this? Having to be dragged into court for it?
It's fine.
Fine? Okay. Head right down that way. Fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So come on in here. You satisfied how this thing comes out?
Yes, I am.
What do you think happened here?
I think basically her moral compass is pointed in the wrong direction, and I think she's motivated by greed.
Harvey?
So bottom line here is the plaintiff won this case. You must have been watching Judge Jerky. It wasn't the People's Court. And the fact is, you have to read these releases because they are absolutely binding. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.